4th Sketching and Painting with Bill episode. Recently, I really have been getting into and trying to improve my digital art. That is, using my iPad Pro 12.9-inch iPad as my drawing tool. I was impressed with folks that I've seen using their iPads as sketching and watercolor devices, particularly Rob Sketcherman. He lives in Hong Kong. It's just amazing what he creates on his iPad. I think I mentioned before that I started sketching mainly because I got this 12.9 iPad a year ago in the beginning of 2019. And I wanted to see how this program called Procreate that everybody was talking about worked. I started teaching myself how to use Procreate. Procreate is an app that runs only on iOS. There's a version available for iPhones, but of course you can't use a pencil. You have to use a stylus or your finger. And there's a version that runs on the iPad Pro line. And now also, will run on any iPad, but if you want to use a pencil, you can only use the iPad Pros, the various generations and sizes, and the newest 10.2 regular iPad. It has a screen that will let you use the iPad Pencil number 1. And the Pro that I have uses the iPad Pencil number 2. So I started experimenting with that, and it was amazing to me how much it was like paper, really, like drawing on paper, but it wasn't the same. And then I decided, well, I really want to do this paper thing. So that's when I really started sketching portraits and so on. And then summer came around, and I was a little bit, I'd kind of accomplished what I wanted to accomplish with portraits. So I started to get into just doing sketching of things, and the whole urban sketching movement, which I like to refer to as the on-location sketching, kind of impressed me and intrigued me. So I took up sketching, as it were. So since last summer, end of the summer, I guess, I've been experimenting with sketching in pencil, overdrawing it with ink, and then adding watercolor. And just recently, and not all along through that period of time, I would experiment with using Procreate, but I was frustrated by the brushes that come with Procreate. So I would experiment mainly with just doing drawings. A couple weeks ago, I happened to watch a video by Steve. I'm going to put his name down at the bottom of the screen because I forget the last part. He's a Dutch illustrator, and he goes by Steve. His name is Stefan. And he had a set of brushes that he created specifically for a job he was doing, and so they were well-tested brushes, and they consisted of a dip pen kind of brush, and then 4 or 5 different watercolor brushes. What he showed that he had done with these brushes was quite impressive. And granted, he's an accomplished artist, an accomplished illustrator, and I'm not. I'm still working on it. But nonetheless, it looked like these could be good. So for $15, I downloaded a set of watercolor brushes. It also came with a palette that mimicked a Winsor & Newton color palette. And he also included several different paint or paper surfaces. So these were based on Arch's cold press paper, and they had a nice texture to them. So that's what really put me back into Procreate and really start experimenting with drawing, because these brushes were what I was looking for. There's still other pens that I use, but I do use his dip pen. But I primarily use his watercolor brushes. And I'll link to his YouTube video in the description. So that put me on the track of starting to really practice with digital art and to come back to Procreate, because I had kind of abandoned Procreate in favor of Teosui Sketches Pro, because I liked the fountain pen tool in that app. It was really like working with a fountain pen. Long story short, I'm now using Procreate pretty much exclusively, and I really haven't drawn anything on paper probably for a week. So I wanted to share that with you, as well as what I discovered when I watched Rob Sketcherman's video on ways to hold your iPad. Because I have a great cover. It's the Zugu cover, which is many different positions, and I think I've done a video on that before, and I'll link to that as well in the description. And I use it all the time. I like to have my iPad covered and in a nice case when I take it out. Sketcherman uses this holder. What's nice about it is it's not permanent. So you're not sticking it to the back of your iPad, or are you, having then to unstick it and move it? And you can move it around. You can put it. It only goes so in horizontal position, but that doesn't prevent you from putting the iPad in vertical position. And what's nice about it is it has this handle. Let me try to put this in this camera here. I'm doing this outside, as you can see, and not at my desk where I have the ATM Mini and all the buttons to push. So this piece comes up and it becomes a stand, but it also, as you can see, can be a holder. So you can hold it just like this. So let me demonstrate this. It'll go in a vertical mode, which is not portrait mode, which is nice. When I'm using Instagram insists on being in portrait mode because it's really meant for an iPhone. When I want to use Instagram on my iPad, I don't. My other case doesn't let me stand up my iPad in portrait mode. This little add-on does, and then I can put it in just regular. You're probably getting some glare on that. No, you're not. Whoops, see, it's over a little bit too far. But you can set this like that, and it makes a great angle just for reading, or I can make it low. I can move this around. So again, let me use this camera up here. I can move this around like so, and now it puts it down at a much nicer angle for drawing. Or I can use it like this. So it goes back up like this. So I can hold it like so. And that's handy. Your arm gets a little tired, but if you've got like an armrest here and I put it like this, that's handy for drawing. There's two drawbacks in using this as your main carrying piece for an iPad. And one is it covers up the area where you charge your pencil. So that's not a big deal since you can take this off and you can put the pencil up there. But the other thing, there's no place to keep your pencil. So I got this that does stick to the back of my iPad, and it is elastic. So it's like a faux leather kind of material and has an elastic pocket that the pencil goes into, very much like the one on the Zugu, the back of the Zugu. So this solved that problem. But I wanted to make sure that it was thin enough that I could still put the Zugu case on this and it would fit fine and not bulge out. So obviously if I take this off and put the Zugu case back, put it back in the Zugu case, I then carry the pencil in the similar pocket on the Zugu case. But it closes perfectly. So I have the best of both worlds. So now I have a way to carry my pencil with this if I want to go out and sketch. I don't have any protection for the front of the iPad, and that's a bit of an issue. I don't intend to, or I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I'll let you know the next time I do a video on this. This holder has given me the ability to hold the iPad a little bit more easily and longer and still draw with it. And then it also, with this pocket, gives me the capability of having the pencil with me whenever I need it. And should I need to charge it, I just unhook this and put the pencil on the charging connector. Not an issue with iPads that use pencil number one, because that charges through the lightning port on the iPad itself. I am really, really excited about drawing on the iPad. I'd really be interested in your comments if you too have experimented with drawing on an iPad or any tablet, really, an Android tablet or anything. I'm really enjoying using Procreate, and I think I'm finally getting, with the help of these Safe Draws brushes, with the help of them, I think I'm getting more realistic images. That is to say, realistic in the sense that I still want them to be loose, but I am feeling as though they look almost like I've done them on paper, the last couple that I've done. I really would be interested in any feedback you have about using digital devices for your art. Okay, so thanks very much for checking in on this episode of Sketching and Painting with Bill, digitally and on paper. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.